One of us really died, not disappeared, not escaped, died. The question is, who? And if someone around that table is already dead, then who have we been talking to this entire time? Welcome back. Before we continue, make sure you subscribe, like this video, and turn on the notification bell, because this mystery is only getting darker. And while you're watching, I want you to answer one question in the comments. Who do you think is hiding the biggest secret? Mara, Jake, Marcus, Nina, Elena, or Elias? Think carefully, because by the end of this episode, you may never trust any of them again. Last time, everything changed. A funeral, a grave, a hidden photograph, and one terrifying realization. Someone from our group didn't survive Incident 0. But that wasn't the most disturbing part. The most disturbing part was that none of us could remember who it was. Tonight, the game begins revealing the truth. A single photograph will make everyone question their own memories. A forgotten funeral will expose a lie buried for 3 years. And someone inside room 2 is about to remember something the game has desperately tried to erase. Watch every detail. Listen to every word. Because one tiny clue hidden in this episode changes everything you thought you knew about Incident 0. Now, let's go back to room 2. Nobody spoke after Jake's confession. The timer continued counting. 5, 58, 5, 57, 5, 56. A funeral, a grave, one of us dead. The idea sounded impossible, yet every instinct inside me said it was true. The screen flickered, then a new image appeared. A cemetery. Rain poured from a dark sky. The photograph was blurry, old, damaged, but recognizable. 5 people stood around a grave. Not 6, 5. The room immediately noticed. Marcus stood. Wait, his voice echoed. There were only 5. Nobody answered, because he was right. The image clearly showed 5 mourners. One person was missing. The screen zoomed closer. Rain distorted the faces. But slowly, very slowly, the picture sharpened. Marcus, Jake, Nina, Elena, me. 5 people, 5 survivors, standing around a grave. The room became completely silent, because there was no 6th person, no David, no Elias, no mystery, just a grave. The screen displayed a single sentence. Who is inside? My heart stopped. The timer continued. 5:14, 5:13, 5:12. Nobody wanted to answer. Nobody wanted to guess. Because suddenly this didn't feel like a puzzle. It felt like a memory. A real memory. One we had buried. Then Elena grabbed her head. Hard. As if trying to stop something. Her chair nearly tipped over. Marcus immediately noticed. Elena? She didn't answer. Her breathing became uneven. Faster, faster. Then suddenly, I remember. The words exploded out of her. Everyone froze. Elena's eyes widened. I remember the funeral. The screen flashed green. Truth accepted. Progress. 36%. A sharp pain stabbed through my skull. Another memory surfaced. Rain. Mud. A black umbrella. Someone crying. Then darkness. Gone again. The room was feeding memories back to us, one piece at a time. Elena stared at the photograph, tears forming in her eyes. I know who died. Nobody moved. Nobody breathed. The timer continued. 4:41, 4:44, 39. Marcus slowly sat down. Tell us. Elena looked terrified, because she already knew. The answer was there, right behind her eyes, waiting. She swallowed, then whispered. It was... Suddenly, every screen in the room turned red. Warning, warning, warning. The room froze. The voice returned immediately. Unauthorized memory recovery detected. Elena stopped talking. The room lights flickered. Once, twice, 3 times. The timer dropped. 4:38, 3:38. Everyone shouted. A full minute vanished. Marcus slammed the table. This game is cheating. The voice ignored him. Participants must recover memories in sequence. The warning disappeared. The room slowly calmed. But something had changed. Elena now knew something important. And the game didn't want her saying it. Jake noticed too. His eyes narrowed. You know who died? Elena remained silent. Jake leaned forward. You do? Still no answer. Marcus stared at her, then at the monitors, then at Elias. And suddenly, his expression changed. Like a realization had hit him. No. The word escaped quietly. Nobody heard him except me. Marcus looked at the photograph again, then at Elias, then at the empty grave. No. This time louder. Jake turned. What? Marcus slowly pointed toward the screen, toward the grave, toward the rain-soaked funeral. I've been thinking about this wrong. The room became silent. What do you mean? Nina asked. Marcus swallowed, then spoke the sentence none of us expected. What if the person who died? He stopped. The room waited. Wasn't one of us? Silence. Complete silence. Because suddenly, that made sense. The screen immediately flashed yellow. Caution. Not red. Not green. Yellow. Marcus noticed. I noticed too. The game wasn't rejecting the idea. The room displayed a new sentence. Partial accuracy detected. My pulse quickened. Partial accuracy. Meaning part of it was true. The room was giving us clues. Tiny clues. Buried inside the warnings. Marcus leaned forward. What does that mean? No answer. The monitors changed. Another photograph appeared. This one was different. The room froze instantly because the picture showed all 6 of us, standing together, smiling, and beside us stood Elias, not watching, not controlling, standing with us, as if he belonged, as if he was one of the group. The date underneath read 3 days before incident 0, nobody spoke. Nobody moved. Then another sentence appeared. You trusted him. The room became silent, terrifyingly silent, because every one of us felt the same thing. A tiny fragment, a tiny memory, a feeling, trust. We had trusted Elias, somehow, somewhere, before everything went wrong. Then the screen displayed one final image, a security camera frame, time-stamped 3 years ago, a steel door opening, 6 players entering, and Elias entering with them. The timer continued counting, 2:49, 2:48, 2:47. The screen slowly zoomed inward, closer, 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 until it stopped on one detail, a detail none of us had noticed before. Something Elias was carrying, a black briefcase, locked, heavy, important. The screen displayed one sentence. The answer was inside the case. Then every monitor in room 2 went black. Nobody spoke. The footage remained frozen on the monitor. 3 years ago, Mara, holding the briefcase, handing it to Elias, smiling, my stomach twisted. No, the word escaped my lips. It wasn't like that. Marcus immediately looked at me. Then what was it like? I don't know. The answer sounded weak, even to me. The screen flashed yellow. Caution. Incomplete response detected. The room fell silent. The game wasn't calling me a liar, but it wasn't accepting my answer either. Somewhere inside my head, pieces of memory were moving, shifting, trying to connect. The problem was that every time they got close, something stopped them, like a locked door inside my mind. The timer continued. 0, 0, 39, 0, 0, 38, 0, 0, 37. Jake pointed at the monitor. You brought the case. I saw that. You handed it to Elias. I saw that too. Marcus leaned forward. Then maybe you know what was inside. I shook my head. I don't. The screen flashed yellow again. Caution. The room immediately noticed. Nina's face went pale. Oh my God. I looked at the screen. My pulse quickened. The room thought I knew more. Maybe it was right. Maybe I did. Maybe I just couldn't remember. Then Elena suddenly stood. The restraints around her wrists unlocked. Click. Everyone froze. The room had never done that before. The voice returned. Participant Elena has recovered sufficient memory fragments. Marcus stared. What? Elena looked just as confused. The voice continued. Participant Elena may now access Archive 1. A section of the wall opened. A narrow doorway appeared. Darkness beyond. The room became silent. Archive 1. The name alone sounded dangerous. Elena looked at the doorway, then at us, then at the timer. 0, 25, 0, 24, 0, 23. Marcus pointed. Go. Elena hesitated. What if it's a trap? Jake laughed nervously. Everything here is a trap. Nobody disagreed. The timer continued falling. Finally, Elena stepped through the doorway. The darkness swallowed her. The wall closed behind her. And suddenly she was gone. The room erupted. What? Where did she go? What is happening? The voice ignored us. The monitors changed again. A new video appeared. The date read, 3 years ago, Incident 0. My heart skipped a beat. The footage began playing. The room immediately fell silent. Because for the first time, we were finally seeing what happened. The 6 of us sat around a table. A different room, a different game, but definitely the same facility. Elias stood at the center, speaking, explaining something. The audio crackled, then became clear. We only get one chance. The room froze. Elias's voice. The real Elias. Not a recording designed for us. Not a taunt. A memory. A moment. The past. The footage continued. David stood beside him, holding documents, arguing, pointing at charts spread across the table. Then Marcus appeared on screen. Younger, angrier, shouting. The audio cut in and out, fragments only, enough to tease, not enough to explain. Then one sentence became clear, a sentence that made every person in room 2 freeze. If we're wrong, someone dies. Silence. Absolute silence. The footage stopped. Nobody moved. Nobody breathed. Because suddenly, the gun in the briefcase made sense. The funeral made sense. The missing memories made sense. Someone really had died. The game wasn't fiction. It wasn't a simulation. It wasn't a psychological experiment, at least not entirely. Something terrible had happened here. Something real. The monitors flashed. Then another message appeared. Archive 1 opened. Memory transfer in progress. Nobody understood. Then Elena screamed. Not in room 2. Somewhere else. Far away. The sound echoed through the hidden speakers. The room froze. Marcus stood instantly. Elena. No response. Only another scream. Shorter this time. Then silence. Complete silence. The voice returned. Archive 1 complete. The doorway reappeared, slowly opening. Elena stumbled out, and the moment we saw her face, every one of us knew something had changed. She wasn't confused anymore. She wasn't uncertain anymore. She looked terrified, because she remembered. She remembered everything. Nobody spoke. Nobody moved. Nobody even blinked. Elena stood in the doorway, breathing heavily. Her face was pale. Her eyes were wide. And for the first time since entering the facility, she looked genuinely afraid. Marcus was the first to reach her. What happened? Elena didn't answer. Elena. Still nothing. Jake stood up. What did you see? Elena slowly looked around the room, at me, at Marcus, at Nina, at Jake. Then she whispered, "We were never supposed to come back." The room froze. Nobody knew what to say. The voice remained silent. The monitors remained dark. Only the timer moved. 0, 0, 18, 0, 0, 17, 0, 0, 16. Marcus grabbed her shoulders. What do you remember? Elena swallowed, then slowly sat down, like her legs could no longer support her. What happened 3 years ago wasn't an accident. Nobody moved. The room seemed to grow colder. Elena stared at the floor, then began speaking. Incident 0 started as a project. The words hit like a hammer. A project? Jake asked. Elena nodded. We weren't kidnapped. Silence. We volunteered. The room froze. My stomach twisted, because deep inside, I already knew she was telling the truth. Elena continued. We all worked together. Another memory hit me. An office, a conference room, documents, research files, then darkness again. The memory vanished. The room remained silent. Marcus looked confused. Worked together where? Elena closed her eyes. Asylum Research Group. The name echoed through the room, and immediately something happened. Every monitor activated at once. The words, Asylum Research Group, appeared across every screen. Memory recovery event detected. Progress, 42%. The room vibrated. A flood of memories slammed into my head. A company logo, a glass building, a conference table. Elias standing at the front of the room, explaining something, leading something. Then darkness. Gone again. I gasped. Jake nearly fell from his chair. Marcus grabbed the edge of the table. Nina covered her ears. Everyone was remembering. Not clearly, not completely, but enough. Enough to hurt. Enough to know Elena was right. We knew Elias, Nina whispered. The screen flashed green. Truth accepted. Progress, 48%. Elena nodded slowly. More than knew him. The room became silent. Then she said the sentence that changed everything. Elias founded the project. Nobody breathed. Nobody moved. Because suddenly, Elias wasn't some mysterious stranger. He wasn't a kidnapper. He wasn't a random villain. He had once been one of us. One of the team. One of the people sitting around that table. Marcus stared. No. Elena nodded. Yes. The timer continued. 0, 0, 11, 0, 0, 10, 0, 0, 0, 9. Jake pointed at the monitor. Then why are we here? Elena's face darkened. Because something went wrong. Silence. Then another memory surfaced. Stronger than the others. A laboratory. Rows of computers. Research equipment. People arguing. Elias shouting. David shouting back. The memory disappeared. But this time I heard a phrase before it vanished. You pushed it too far. The words echoed through my mind. Then another monitor activated. A video file. Timestamp. 3 years ago. The footage began. The room immediately fell silent, because everyone in the video looked terrified, including Elias, including David, including me. The recording showed a conference room, documents scattered everywhere, people shouting. The camera microphone crackled. Then a voice became clear. David. This isn't memory therapy anymore. The room froze. David pointed at Elias. We're rewriting people. Silence. The footage continued. Elias looked exhausted, desperate, frustrated. We're helping them. No. David slammed his hand onto the table. We're changing them. The recording cut. Static filled the screen. Then another clip began. This time the room was darker. The argument was worse. People shouting. People panicking. Then one sentence broke through the noise. A sentence that made my blood run cold. We need to destroy the prototype. The video ended instantly. The room went silent. Nobody spoke. Because every one of us understood. The prototype, the briefcase, the gun, the memory suppression, everything connected. Marcus slowly looked at me, then at the monitor, then back at me. Mara. My pulse quickened. What? Marcus pointed toward the frozen video frame, toward the conference table, toward the black briefcase, toward the person carrying it, me. You were protecting it. The room became silent, terrifyingly silent, because for the first time, I couldn't deny it. Every recovered memory pointed toward the same thing. I hadn't been a victim of Incident Zero. I had been part of it, and somewhere deep inside my mind, a forgotten memory was beginning to wake up. A memory that terrified me more than Elias ever could. The room felt smaller, colder, heavier. Nobody spoke after Marcus's accusation. I stared at the frozen image on the monitor, the conference room, the black briefcase, the prototype, and me, always me, standing beside it, protecting it. My stomach twisted. I don't remember. The words sounded weak, even to me. The screen flashed yellow. Caution. Incomplete response detected. The room fell silent. Jake looked away. Marcus sighed. Nobody believed memory loss anymore. Not after everything we'd seen. Not after everything we'd remembered. The truth was buried inside us. The game was simply digging it up. The timer continued. 0, 0, 0, 8, 0, 0, 0, 7, 0, 0, 0, 6. Then the monitors suddenly went black. A loud mechanical sound echoed through room 2. Clunk. The timer stopped. Frozen. The room froze with it. Nobody moved. Nobody understood. Then a single spotlight activated, directly above the center of the room. A steel box slowly rose from the floor. Marcus immediately stood. What now? The box continued rising until it stopped at waist height. The voice returned. Final recovery sequence. The room became silent. The top of the box opened. Inside sat a hard drive. Nothing else. Just a single black hard drive. The voice continued. Original Incident Zero archive. Nobody breathed. The room had our attention now. The voice added, unedited. A chill spread through my body, unedited, meaning everything we'd seen so far had been incomplete. Fragments, pieces, memories. But this was the real thing. The complete record. Marcus looked around. Play it. Nobody disagreed. The monitor flickered. The hard drive activated, and the final recording began. The image appeared instantly. A conference room. The same one from before. The same research facility. Only this time there were no missing pieces, no static, no interruptions. The entire truth. Elias stood at the front, speaking, confident, passionate. We can change lives. The room remained silent. Elias continued. We can remove trauma. A slide appeared behind him. Memory reconstruction on project. My pulse quickened. Another memory surfaced. A proposal. Research grants. Clinical trials. The memory stayed longer this time. Long enough to understand. We weren't criminals. At least not at first. We were researchers. People trying to help others. The recording continued. David stood, disagreeing, arguing. The same conflict we'd already seen. Only now the audio was clear. This is dangerous. David pointed toward the presentation. You can't rewrite identity. Elias shook his head. We aren't rewriting identity. David laughed bitterly. That's exactly what we're doing. The room became silent, because both men believed they were right. The recording skipped forward, days later. The team looked exhausted, sleep-deprived, stressed. Something had happened. Something important. Then a new figure entered the room. The room froze. because none of us recognized him. A man in a dark suit, late 50s, sharp eyes, cold expression. He wasn't part of the team, yet everyone in the video looked nervous around him. The man placed a folder on the table. Nobody spoke. Nobody moved. The words echoed through room 2. The machine isn't removing memories anymore. It created one. The monitors remained black. The silence became unbearable. Marcus finally broke it. What does that even mean? No answer. The voice remained silent. The game was forcing us to think, forcing us to remember. Then Elena suddenly stood. Her eyes widened. I remember. The room froze. Another memory had surfaced. Elena grabbed the edge of the table, struggling to breathe. I remember the laboratory. Nobody interrupted. I remember David. The monitors instantly flickered. Truth accepted. Progress, 73%. A sharp pain exploded behind my eyes. Then another memory appeared, clearer than any before. The laboratory, bright white lights, rows of monitors, David standing beside the prototype, arguing, shouting, terrified. Then the memory vanished, but not before I heard one sentence. It isn't a memory. The words echoed through my mind. I looked up. Across the table, Jake looked just as shaken. He remembered too. The room lights dimmed. Then a video file appeared. Recovered, Archive 17. The footage began. The laboratory. The same room. The same night. David paced back and forth. Elias stood nearby, exhausted, frustrated. The argument was already underway. David pointed toward the prototype. I ran the tests again. Nobody moved. The recording continued. David looked terrified, more terrified than anyone had ever seen him. It shouldn't exist. Elias frowned. What shouldn't exist? David looked directly at him. The 7th memory. The room froze. Marcus slowly sat down. Nobody understood. Yet somehow, the phrase felt familiar. David continued. The machine created a memory that never happened. Silence. Elias stared. David slammed a folder onto the desk. It isn't deleting trauma anymore. His voice shook. It is generating reality. The recording stopped. The room became silent. Completely silent. Because suddenly, everything changed. The prototype wasn't just dangerous. It was impossible. It could create memories, false experiences, entire events, entire lives. The room lights flickered. The voice returned. Incident 0 began after discovery of the 7th memory. Jake stared. The 7th memory? The screen flashed. A photograph appeared. The room froze instantly. It showed all 6 of us, standing together, smiling, happy, normal. The date underneath read 1 year before project launch. Marcus frowned. What's wrong with that? The voice answered. The event never occurred. Nobody moved. Nobody breathed. The room continued. Location does not exist. Another chill ran through me. The photograph remained on screen. A memory, a place, a moment that had never happened. Yet every one of us recognized it. Every one of us remembered it. The room became silent, because if the machine could create one false memory, how many others had it created? The screen changed again. A progress bar appeared. Memory restoration, 81%. Then a final archive opened. The laboratory once again. Only now chaos filled the room. Alarms blared. Monitors flashed red. People shouted. David grabbed the prototype. Elias tried to stop him. Marcus appeared. Then Jake. Then Nina. Then Elena. Then me. Everyone shouting. Everyone terrified. The argument exploded. David raised the prototype. We destroy it now. Elias stepped forward. If you do that, everything we've built is gone. David laughed bitterly. Good. Then the recording froze. The image zoomed inward, toward me, standing beside David, holding the black briefcase. The room went silent, because I wasn't stopping him. I was helping him. Marcus stared. Jake stared. Everyone stared. The footage resumed, and for the first time, I heard my own voice. He's right. The room froze. 3 years ago, Mara looked directly at Elias, then spoke the words that changed everything. The project has to end. The footage ended instantly. Black screen, silence, complete silence. Because suddenly one thing became clear. I hadn't protected the prototype. I had tried to destroy it. And somewhere in the missing minutes of Incident Zero, something had happened. Something terrible. Something that ended with a funeral, a gun, and 6 people agreeing to erase their memories. The monitor flickered one final time, then displayed a single sentence. Final archive unlocked. Cause of death identified. Nobody breathed. Because we all knew what came next. The truth. The funeral. The death. The reason we had all come back. And for the first time since entering the game, I wasn't sure I wanted to know.